what we're here about. And so I want to talk to you today about culturally sensitive approaches, working with African American men and boys. Now the work is very simply group work. Very rarely will we have a group this large. And let me go back because I said we. My partner in crime, Dr. Gregory Washington, who always introduces himself as a full professor. It's on his cards, it's on the website. If you look him up at the University of Memphis where we work, it says full professor. And that's because there's a lot of confusion now, and students will call me different things. I get emails, hey, Mr. Watson, or I'll introduce somebody will say, I want you to meet Dr. Watson. They'll say, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Watson. You know, just that quick. They'll forget about it. And some people on purpose, right? Don't want to recognize it. But Dr. Watson couldn't be with us today. He didn't know that it was actually going to be on Thursday. And so he teaches on Thursday. I teach on Thursday too, and I let some folks know. My wife is substituting for me. Some of you all may know my wife, Dr. Desiree Steptoe Watson. She's a professor, she's an associate professor at the University of Memphis. Mississippi, University of Mississippi. Oh, let me get that right. I'm at the University of Memphis. And so, where's my flipper guy? He already disappeared? Where is it? Oh, okay, who am I? This is the most fun part for me. There's a lot of you all that know me from work. It's always good to see people that I know. But I'm a carpetbagger. And I've been thinking about writing a book about carpetbagging, a modern book about carpetbagging. I'm from Chicago, so I came to the South to help out. Try to improve the quality of life for people in Mississippi and the South. And I've had the good fortune to be an administrator at Jackson State University. That's where I started off here in Mississippi as a assistant vice president of community affairs, local government affairs, and I would later actually be the director of the NASW and PhD program at Jackson State. Had to leave there. It was a little difficult commuting from Jackson, Mississippi to South Lake, Mississippi. And then we had a big family meeting, just my wife and I. And it was like, either you're gonna keep your family together and we're gonna live together, or this maintaining two residences. It wasn't her idea of a happy marriage. So, happy wife, happy life. You know? So, I ended up, at that time, I was at Jackson State for my second run, but just to tell you a little bit about my work, I've working toward at Aurora University in Chicago, DePaul University in Chicago, but I didn't teach social work at DePaul. I taught psychology, which I never took a class in. Never took a class in. But large social work programs, or any large program, they can hire people with expertise and knowledge without actually them having degrees in the field, because they meet their standards for accreditation with or without. So I taught at Aurora University, DePaul University. Then I worked at Jackson State, taught at Jackson State. We moved to Oxford. I was the director of graduate student services, and I didn't like that because I had just got my PhD at Jackson State, and I'm like, I want to be a professor. I don't want to be an administrative job. I want to be a professor. My grandmother told me that I would be a professor. Back in the years when I was getting drunk every day. Talked a lot, so she was a professor. She knew something that I didn't know, to be honest with you. She could see a different life for me. And so I taught at when I hung out with Vincent Green, all of you all know him, the soldier from Mississippi Valley. We met up in San Francisco at one of those CSWE conferences, and he convinced me that I would do well at Summer Valley. So I left Ole Miss as Director of Graduate Student Services, took an assistant professorship at Valley, and as soon as I signed the papers, Ole Miss called and said they had a professorship for me. So I felt real bad about leaving HBCU, one of the largest PWIs in the country. And you know, with the history that we have in Oxford, everything. But when I moved, I left Valley after a semester and came to Ole Miss. Stayed there for 7 years, and went back to Jackson State, left Jackson State, and I went to Russ College. Which was kind of sort of the position that I loved most in all of them, except Jackson State had some opportunities like doing housing programs, technology programs for kids, digitally defined programs, senior citizens programs. But I loved Russ College. And I was over there for 5 years, and an opportunity came at the University of Memphis, and which was like less than half of the work that I was doing at Russ, and 3 times the size. So I don't know if I put it down, but I've got an MBA too, and I started thinking about the return on investment, and I left Russ. And that was hard because I really did like Russ College. It was a very, very unique experience and opportunity, small class, got a chance to intimately involved with the growth and development of the students. And I remember just a quick story. I had this one student, female student, that was, you know, the student from hell, so to speak. And I used to go into the secretary's office and ask, how do I get rid of this shit? In a nice way. And I actually wrote a grant and got a proposal for a project called Students Teaching Elders Technology Skills, STETS. And one thing I discovered when I would observe that student is all other students followed her. And I was like, is she a bully or what? You know? But I made her the director of the program. She did real well. It was like her big opportunity. And I don't think she's in, but she's applying for the NASW program at Alabama A&M. So, I mean, she just blossomed. I mean, that was it for her. She left Russ and got an MSW at Alabama A&M. I just did a reference letter for the NASW program. But that's my teaching history with these schools, and I'm not going to go on and on. My story is kind of dull anyway, at least it is with me. Where's my guy? Is he behind? Okay. Oh, okay. So, 99% of everything that I do today will be involved with Afrocentric or African-centered activity. And here's how I really came up with this. I'm a white kid, a YMCA kid. You know, George Williams, founder of the YMCA. You guys still teach that in your social work history? How many people don't know about George Williams? Raise your hand. One person in the whole 3? Yeah, he founded the Y. So I was essentially raised by social work from when I was 7 years old. And I thought about that. And I read that book, Fallen Angels. How many people read Fallen Angels? Angels, raise your hand. One person. Well, Fallen Angels is a book about kind of sort of, they're making a claim, this author is making a claim that social work has lost its way. That now we want to be psychologists and psychotherapists instead of community builders and working on housing and all sorts of other things. And so I wondered, how is it that the YMCA was so successful as a social work organization? Because when I used to think about the Y, I would think about basketball, swimming, gymnastics, track, baseball. We did all of that. We had a little club, Grade Y, which is grade school, and YMCA, or organization for kids that were in grade school, and they had the high Y and so forth. But the one thing I learned is that when you're working with people, and they come into your office, they got a 3 o'clock appointment, they come in, you're behind the desk, they on that side of the desk, 4:30 come away from behind the desk. Sometimes you're in a cage, right? With glass, and you can't really talk to the time because it would be dangerous or something. But you're sitting there and you're asking questions like, so how you doing today? It's dry. I mean, it's very dry. You might have an assessment instrument, a planning instrument or something, or some kind of way that you, what do they say, you establish a rapport, right? Kind of dull. But if you take a basketball and roll it out there, or a pool table, or you have arts and crafts, or a swimming pool. Swim for a while, they get tired, and sit on the side of the pool or in a little pool. You can talk to them. They're ready to listen, they're ready to talk too. Because they want to listen and talk as quickly as possible so they can get back in the pool, right? But the point is that people tend to open up more when they actually do things. Something other than, well, when you come through the door, you already know I'm crazy. Right? That's the only people that come in for. And so I discovered that if you can create activities for them to participate in during the course of those activities, you can observe them, how they communicate with others, how they shut down, how well they follow directions, or suggestions, or recommendations. How much do they want to participate in their own healing process, rather than coming through the door expecting you to have a solution to my problem. So if you can get them involved in some sort of activity, then you got a really good chance that they'll open up at some point. Or you can observe them while they're doing those activities. One of the things that I always do, I talk a little bit more about it later, is that my observation, I always like to see, as professionals that are supposedly healthy, how well do we follow directions? What's our level? What's our level of enthusiasm for what we're doing? Or do we want to operate like, do as I say do, not as I do? And I'll tell you, I believe that clients and program participants, they can sniff that out. They can sniff it out every time. And the old thing is who wants to do something? You asking me to do something, but you're not willing to do things yourself. So especially when I'm working with professionals, because some of us unfortunately have that state of awareness where we believe that it's for you, not for me. It's for you, it's not for me. I try not to ask people to do things that I wouldn't be able to do myself. But we always start off, we actually started before she introduced us. We actually started before setting up of the environment. How is it going to look? What does it mean? And if you've ever taken any training classes, you'll see you've got a certain setup for classroom. They either call it classroom or assembly, or lecture hall, where you got one person up there talking, and then you got a room full of people and roles. That doesn't promote activity and enthusiasm, because I guess supposedly whoever's talking that they have something that when they talk, it's going to magically come into my brain and I'll get it. If you get people participating, they'll get more out of it. They will get a lot more out of it. And so in terms of culture, the beginning actually starts when you begin to set up the room. You want to talk a little bit about restorative circles. So, poor Dr. Boyd and I, we went back and forth trying to figure out how to do this. I had no idea 2 weeks ago that it was going to be this many people. But unfortunately, last year we were a little popular. And folk kind of remembered it. But this is a wonderful opportunity. We started off, and this young lady here was just, I could just see the enthusiasm in her spirit. I mean, she was some hesitancy, but she knows how to follow direction. And that's 90% of the battle. Any challenge that I've ever had in my life, when I stopped and began to listen, people told me what I needed to do. It's like taking the auto mechanic and he started telling me, you need to fix the flat tire. And you don't fix the flat tire. You keep telling me the same thing. So we start off by setting up the ritual objects. You usually, when you're doing restorative circles, and you hear a lot about restorative circles in the judicial system. In some places, instead of locking people up, they have these restorative circle events where the person is able to sit there with law enforcement, a facilitator, the victim or victims, and talk about what happened and what their role and responsibility is. It's a very unique way. First of all, when you're in a circle, you should be able to look everybody in the room in that circle with you in the eyes. So it's no hiding, visually hiding. You're all present emotionally, at least that's what you hope for. So we had to have a circle. Initially, I had thought about, before I knew it was going to be this, and people, I thought about having a circle, one circle. How many people know about fishbowl? Yeah, you have one circle, and then you have a circle around that circle, and the people in the middle are doing activity, the people in the outer circle are observers. They look and see, just like a fishbowl, look and see what the fish is doing. And so, when you're setting up for doing this, you pick some objects. I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to go to Africa, I think 7 times now. To Ghana, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire. See Africa? I think so. I'm getting old now, so I forget it. But I went last year. I went back to Ghana because I wanted to share the experience with one of my dear friends from childhood. And so I always try to buy some things that I can use, some ritual objects. And I got a few things in the house. But this right here, and see, symbols are critically important to the survival of all of us. You think about the gangs. They have symbols, they have colors, they have norms, they have consequences. And this is part of what binds them together, in addition to the fact that all of us have a need to belong to something greater than us. All of us. This symbol here, this is a man blowing a horn. Some would say a war horn, but it's just a horn. It's an alarm. It's a signal to say that it's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something. This is called Akobin. Akobin. It's time for us to do something. So it is time for us to do something today. And be in this group. So I want you to know, whatever else you were doing, just kind of push it to the side and be present. Kind of should have did this one at first. This is a real popular symbol. It's the bird looking backwards. What, Dr. Corbett, do you know what this symbol means?
Sankofa?
Sankofa, can you say that loud?
Sankofa.
Sankofa, you'll see this a lot. And the paraphrase, the slogan that goes with it, it means that, or it says that, in order to go forward, you got to look backwards and understand your history and culture. Else, you can't go forward. And so it's a bird looking backwards. So now that you've seen this, you're going to see it again. You're going to look now and then you'll see things, organizations with the symbol. This was made famous by, at least over here, by Melina Karinga. Does everybody know who Melina Karinga was or is? Somebody tell me.
He was the founder of Kwanzaa.
You cheating. She know a lot. Thank you, Dr. Corbett. Yeah, he's the person that actually pulled the whole Kwanzaa piece together. And this is called the Kombe Cha Umoja. It's the Unity Cup. And it's the first principle in Kwanzaa, through Umoja. And so we'll use that cup for libation. Now this is a piece of sculpture. You can't see it far away, but it's a family/community. And everybody in it is connected to each other some kind of way. In order to do one single thing, everybody's connected. And that's how we should be with our clients. A lot of people, you can work at some places and you can lose your job if you get too close to your client. And I'm not talking about sexually. You know you lose it like that. But if you get emotionally too close, or you befriend them, you can be in trouble. Of course, I don't believe that. I certainly believe, about the sexual thing. I've always been very, very fortunate. And I tell people, I don't brag on myself, but if you find somebody bad right from Dr. Jerry Watson, you need to watch them. I'm telling you. I make a lot of mistakes and I'm not perfect. But professionally, no, I don't play that. And I've been blessed. Maybe it's because I didn't start actually doing this work until I was maybe 36, 38 years old. But now, because I've got one client, I've got clients that are professors. Used to be clients. Call me every day. What's going on? They tell me things to do that they know that I don't know. And it's interesting how you have to have a relationship where you can listen to those that used to listen to you all the time. But they're young and they in Google Docs like mad. And Google Docs for me is a little tricky. And those of you all that work at institutions of higher learning, you know that every 6 months it's a new app. We don't use, what were we using? Blackboard? We don't use that, we use Canvas. And before that we were using D2. I mean, it's like every 6 months it's a different app. The screen looks totally different. And I claim that's one of the number one reasons why older people can't stay in higher ed. They don't want to adapt to the new technology. They don't want to. They don't want to take the time to learn. But I've got two strategies. I'll take some time to learn, but I keep good young people with training. And I got a bunch of them so I don't wear one out. Dr. Watson always asking me, I keep a little tally. I asked him last month, so I go to the next person. And that way I won't burn nobody else. And so, the young lady that helped me get set up, she had this, she was looking at it, she said, well, what should I do with it? I said, you're supposed to shake it and look pretty. Like people walk around, she like that. She just took 2 or 3 steps and looked back at it. And that's essentially what it is. Something that you're in a parade, it means that I'm a great person. I'm somebody real special. And this one, of course, really can't tell female. It's juju. And believe it or not, I think in the last year, I have had 2 social work students that dress a little bit different than everybody else dressed. And I was kind of been trying to be careful about the gender issue and all of that. But I asked them, so is your clothing, the way you dress, significant to what you believe in? And they told me, I'm trying to get this right now. Oh, they studied hoodoo. Hoodoo. Now hoodoo. That's what Brandy said. Now, apparently there is a sect or group of people that are practicing hoodoo. And that's kind of, in the English version, that's what that is. That's a person that comes out in a ceremony and is a part of that opening. They may come out in an entourage and they shake and they got on all of this different costuming that represents something special, spiritual. And of course, this is a bouquet of flowers, which actually represents life. And you always want to have, ideally, this piece of African fabric would be in a circle. And by the way, students at Valley sold this piece of fabric together for them. It's really those 6-foot tables fit perfectly on them with the sides down. So everything has symbols and meanings, which is important, that are positive. Because I'm convinced that the reason that a lot of young men join gangs or street organizations is because they don't have these values. They don't have symbols, and somebody's coming to them and say, hey man, you know, top hat of the gang, that represents driving bicycle. I don't really know them like I used to know, but all of them got symbols. Pitchfork. Who is the pitchfork? Everybody know? What gang is the pitchfork? Does anybody know where it's at? Gangster Disciples, GE, Growth and Development. So we need symbols because they add meaning and value to our lives. And they can be replaced. And essentially, this part of what we're doing is giving men and boys, black men and boys, new symbols, new meanings for different things. And I tell you one thing that's appealing. It's nice to have them and other folk don't have them. Now I know it's a lot of deltas in here, zetas, alphas, omegas, It's weak. I never joined the gang, and I literally lived in the street for 20 years. I literally lived in the street. But I didn't see myself as a gangbanger. When I say lived in the street, that means very quickly, I was off and on homeless. I went to the city lockup, county jail, state prison, and the federal prison. Did all of that. I got shot in the streets, thrown in the alley, and left for dead. Got stabbed in the head. So, but I do have some regrets about not being a part of some of those street organizations. But I was just a lone hustler. That's all. I just, I rode by myself. I figured, ain't nobody telling me but me. Because I wasn't hooked up with nobody. And in my family, that's all I saw. On my mother and father's side, pimps, dope dealers, burglars, check cashers. That's all I saw. These were the men and the women that were the most excited. Their mama didn't have to know what it was. And if they did, like my grandmother used to say, don't worry about it when you're in jail, I know where you're at. So these become very, very important. And so the ritual is actually called libations. Does anybody know? If you know what libations is, stand up and tell us what libations is. Anybody? Yes, sir. Homage to your ancestors. One of the things that as black people that we lost during the slavery is we totally lost information around our great-great-grandparents. We're beginning with the new science and stuff, we're beginning to catch back up with some of that. But we were unable to really keep up with that. And in many countries in Africa, one of the ways that they keep up with their lineage is through the libation ritual. Now, strangely enough, the ritual still happens in the street. Drinking wine or Dimitri or vodka, y'all don't know nothing about red cat. Riches, while I was growing. Right? Before you start drinking, you hold the bottle in one hand and you hit it on the bottom. And you can hear that baby say, ooh. Ooh. And if you're good, you loosen that cap enough where you can just kind of hit it. And it's almost like if you're looking at a movie, that cap just rolls around, comes off in the hand. If you're good, whoop, grab it before anybody takes a drink. You pour it on the ground. For Arthur, that is so rest in peace. Now, you don't want to go too much of that. You don't want to go too much of that. But they do that in Africa, and they pour libations. I remember distinctly being in Ghana, and they pour libations for an hour and a half. And it feels like it's about 130 degrees. And you just sweat. And they pour libations and mumbling. But it is a way that we can remain connected to our past. And so when I say and I pour libations, you say libations. Everybody got that? I pour and I say libations. Libations. Well, how nobody over parking lot attendants walking down? I ain't saying nothing over here. I pour and I say libations. Libations. It's a participatory experience. And again, I'm the great talent, and I watch everything that these old eyes will let me see. I pour and I say libations. Libations. Man, I didn't. That's my colleague over there. I think it is. Is that you, Bernadette? No? Raise your hand. No, that's not you. You know, and that's one thing about when you do go to Africa, you're going to see somebody that's exactly like you. For those of you all that are African descendants, you will. You'll see somebody, you be like, ooh, wee. And she looks, that lady looks exactly like one of my colleagues from Kenya. And so what you do is, and we'll do the short version, all of this is really community building, it's family building, it's the first steps in building the cohesion inside of the group. It's the very first step that we can participate in together. And there's a lot of ways to do it. I generally try to keep it with about 5. I'll do one libation for the first civilization, which was in Africa. I'll do one for the Africans that died during the past. Over in Africa, here there's millions of them literally died. They call it the Great Maafa, M-A-A-F-A. Millions of us died. I'll do a libation for them. Then I'll do a libation for the freedom fighter. And when we do libations, you holler out or you'll speak names. I'll do a libation for freedom fighters all over the world so that we could get free. Then I do a libation for all of your ancestors, and you call out their names, each one of their names. And then I do one final libation, that fifth one, for the spirit yet to be born. Some of us in this room gonna have some babies. Some more babies. Okay, some of us. And it's important for us to recognize that it would help with this plan. It would help. You know, give it a little time to prepare and figure things out. And that's the last libation. But every time I say it before libation, you say libation. Right. So let me make this nice and tight. The first libation that I pour will be the first civilization of human beings on earth. And that was in Africa. I say it, I pour libation.
Libation.
Wait. The next libations that I pour will be for the great Ma'at, what the others call middle passage. There were a lot of us that jumped over the ship. A lot of us just didn't make it. The disease. I remember when I was in Ghana this time, and I think this was my fourth time just to Ghana. It was totally different. The whole experience of being in those slave dungeons, and it's like a complex fort. And they got the cannons upstairs, protection invaders. They've got special cells or rooms for hard to control. One room for the women, one room for the men. This was a lot of people died right there waiting to come over here. Everybody, I mean, the conditions, when I was there, I'm like, I don't understand how anybody survived that. And they would pack together and they just take the food and just pour it down the hole. And you know it was crap. And people were getting sick in there. They have a bathroom, they use the bathroom right in there. And so to remember what they went through, I say it, I pour libation.
Libations.
And so now we go to the freedom fight. This libation is so that we will never forget them. As long as we call their names, we won't forget it. And I'll start off by saying Martin Luther King. Are there any other freedom fighters that you would like to call out their name?
James Change.
Medgar Evers.
Speak loud now so everybody can hear you. Out of beat.
Medgar Evers.
Red Hand, Mark. For all of the freedom fighters that gave their life so that we could be up in here. We could be in here. I say it, I pour libation.
Libations.
Now this one is particularly important. This is so we don't forget our mothers, fathers, our grandparents, that are deceased, that are gone on, that are ancestors. We want to keep recognizing them. I'll tell you a little trick I did at my house. I've always liked plants. My mother taught me about plants. So I started buying plants. And so when I water the plants, I pour libation. And it's really, really difficult to make myself do that. You know, once a week or once every 5 days. But I want us to call out some of their names, and I'll start off by saying my father's name, Euless Watson. Any other names?
Mary B. Jones. Earl Jones.
What about over here? Any ancestors you want in your family you want to call out? Okay. The word is that as long as we're calling out their names, they will be alive. Can you imagine this is a lot of children walking around, they don't know nothing about the name of their father, let alone grandfather, grandmother, auntie. They don't know anything about them, great grandparents. I was a teenager. I think my great-grandmother lived here, 114. I used to leave school. They had brought her from, I think, Brinkley, Arkansas to Chicago. I used to leave school and just go over there and just sit with her and listen to her mumble a little bit. Because it's really important. Really important. Because every family has certain traditions or skills or knowledge that whether you know it or not, it's passed on. If you recognize it and understand what it means. And so, will you call out their name? Yes. Ancestors in your family? Any more? Already mentioned. I said I'm for libation.
Libation.
And so the last libation is for the spirits yet to be born. If Planned Parenthood really was Planned Parenthood, like we think about what we're going to do, and you can even do that after the woman becomes pregnant. A lot of us, we really forget about we're going to be parents. You know, you get pregnant and you just, like denial or something. But we have a responsibility to do our best. It's our profession to prepare a place for those children to come and to thrive and to live out their mission, what they were sent here for. And that's really how you begin to develop your own sense of purpose. We have a lot of people walking around don't have a clue about what it is, why they were sent here. And the belief is that all of us were sent here for a specific reason, to do something. And it is a process of discovery, of thinking you got it and then doubting. But we want to prepare a place for those spirits to come. I say it out for libation.
Libation.
Okay. So that's libation. That's kind of a time. Can I get everybody to stand up and do a happy clap from the Black Church, from the Baptist Church, the Church of God? Okay. Good. Still have some people hiding there. Okay, so what's important? Man, I can't see that. So environment, I talked about that. Environment is critical. And if you got some control, come on parking lot, and you got people that ain't even here. That I can see from way back here, computers on just like students. Computers on, doing email. Book face, chatting and snatching. So environment is critical. When you're doing this work, you gotta have the right kind of environment. You know, you can't have people going and coming and being disruptive. Everybody, this business is about being present. I think sometimes we go to school, we learn the material, but we don't really stay true to it. And that's a matter of having some integrity about the work. But the environment is critically important. It controls us in a lot of ways. You think about it in poor communities where there's a lot of poverty, you got certain things going on that don't go on at the level that it goes on everywhere. Now, you know, there's murders and drug addiction and death going on in the high-class community amongst them, but not at the same level. And there's certainly mental illnesses. Everybody got a fair share. Everybody got a fair share. But the environment, when you're doing this work, is critically important. Okay, watch and listen first. Learn from each other, then talk. If you get a chance, look up community of practice. What does community of practice mean? This is when you belong to a group that share information so that everybody in the group can grow from each other. And that's really what you want to have. And I would guess that probably somewhere around 70-80% of you all already belong to communities of practice. You just don't recognize that because people that you call on a regular basis share your experiences, get some input from them around what you need to do, what you can do, what you shouldn't do. That's very, very important. That community of practice. Some of the key principles are keen observation. People go in groups that are social workers and it seems like they don't even pay attention to what's going on in the group. They just going through a protocol, so to speak. The human part of it. The human part is you gotta watch people. Watch their body language, watch their posture, watch their facial expressions, because how a person comes up is more, I say it's 90% more than what they just say out their mouth. You know, a lot of times they don't have to say anything. If a person is saying, you can see it. Some of them can hide it, but you can see it if you're really skilled at that. And this definition of multimodal therapy, and this other slides about it, all it is using a lot of different, in colloquial terms, multiple different techniques and modalities to help a person. Multiple techniques. In other words, you're not in the cognitive behavioral box. And if it means rewards, conditioning, you don't do none of that. You know, my belief is you need to have, and when you take the LCSW exam, they're going to at least find out if you know about multiple modalities to pass the test. And so when you're using these multiple modalities, it gives you the opportunity. You can try something and see right away that ain't working. That is not working. You need to do something different. But if you cut in a box, you got to force your client into that box. And that doesn't work for them. It's different from a cookie cutter approach. Now, I'm sure some of you are, I remember when I first started working at these places where everybody gets the same case note for group. It's like everybody. So what's going to be the case? 4 or 5 of us in there. What's going to be the case note for today? You know, and everybody say the same thing. Participants, showed up. They were sad. They be sad. And this is what we ought to do. Everybody gets the same thing. Cookie cutter approach. That's not it. You want to use, once you're working with a client, part of it is you constantly assess it. You know, the book will tell you that it's engagement, assessment, planning, intervention, evaluation, and starting all over again if it's appropriate. But in actuality, all of that stuff goes together. It doesn't happen like that. If you have the type of clients that I've been accustomed to work with, you better always be assessing. You do need to always assess them. Some of the key principles are keen observation, high-level participation, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. Those are critical. And it's not just for the client, it's for us too. It's for us too. If you're in a group and you're leading, co-leading the group and you never hold your head up, you just read your case and, you got to be able to look. And you have to have the courage to see what's really there honest. Because a lot of us, we see it doesn't look good, we turn our head from it, we go on to something else that sounds really good. Some sort of intervention that just sounds really good, but it's one that we've been accustomed to use. Instead of doing the assessment and then doing multiple things and looking for what are they attracted to? What seems to be working for them? In environment, we talked about that, building cultural communities of healing. It should be learn to practice culture. And it's different. You can't work with Hispanic people the same way that you work with Bohemians. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. And so part of our responsibility to be, yes ma'am, what does that mean? Oh yeah. Yeah, well I ain't got long to put these slides up. Trust me. Okay, flip the, and this slide, if anybody wants a copy of this slide presentation, just email. If you don't pick it up from the last page, just go to University of Memphis Social Work faculty and you'll see these there. But this just mainly defines it. The emphasis on the assessment of treatment, but remember this isn't rocket science for you all. It's just adding some difference. And here's the neat part of it. I'm not a master drummer. You don't have to be a master drummer. You do not have to be a master drummer. Now, if you want a master drummer, there's several of them right over there in Jackson State. The sister that's the dean, she brought them in. Dr. Beckley's daughter. She brought in drummers and that, but you don't need it because it's really not about the drumming. The drumming is just an instrument to get people involved, other than sitting them down there and what's wrong with that? Can you flip it? You can flip it again. That just lists out some of the other therapies you can use. So it's an action-oriented approach. It's not sitting down, as you'll see in a minute. And it's holistic. So you might be dealing with, and a lot of us don't like to do that. We have clients that might be bipolar, but they might have an economic problem. And then, when you got an economic problem, let's say you're on welfare, you bipolar, when the check day comes, you feeling good. At 28 for the 29 days, but when it came, you depressed. And anxious. You know, I got to do this and oh, I don't know if I can make it for $15. And 3 kids and myself. And one old man, I'm going to have to get him $2 or $3. Okay? All right. And so really, we're going to use, along with whatever else that you use, we're going to use African drumming and the principles of restorative service. Keep going. Okay, one thing you want to do is mindfulness, or that you can do. You play some, you stop, and then you do your mindfulness, muscle tension relaxation. Start off with the toes, and go all the way up to the head, and you get a chance to see who can do it, or who's so anxious they want to get back to playing the drums, but they don't want to do nothing no more. Period. You get a chance to see people. What's their emotional control? What is their emotional control? We talk about people have. What time am I supposed to be through?
Now.
Oh, shoot. I got plenty of time. But everybody's doing mindfulness. Everybody's doing mindfulness now. And a lot of us are doing mindfulness for professional self-care, right? Which is something we need to be doing also. Stopping everything, putting on some music, not the notorious B.I.G.
Why not?
Put on some nice calm music,
Let's go.
settle in, and center. But you can do that while you're doing the African drama. And it's a reflective part of the activity. Are you asleep on me? The other thing you can do is have a rites of passage program. And really, rites of passage is no more than an active way of helping people to, first of all, understand where they are now in terms of human development. and then give them an opportunity, if they need to adjust, to move up some. 30 years old and you're still acting like a teenager, you need to make the adjustment. And rites of passage is a set of activities that actually usher you into that new stage. I liken it to a door being open, but you got to do a lot of stuff to get the door open. They used to say you got to go out, you was a boy, you had to go out and kill the lion. And then you can become a man. But in the meantime, what I've learned is you don't just learn how to kill lions. You learn about what it means to be a man. What is your role and what are your responsibilities at the age, the chronological age you are. And most times our clients and program participants, they need to make adjustments. And I hate to say it, but most of us need to make adjustments. And what I always do is I start off with me. I'm 76 years old, but I try to act like I'm 35. It's a problem. But usually it's the other way. You get people that you'll get a man that's 35, he wants to act like a teenager. Won't take on role and responsibilities necessarily as a father, because there's no book. There's no book. They don't give you a book and a teacher. You know, somehow magically you have to learn what's your role and responsibility. And Rites of Passages program, they help people, men and women, to learn through different experiences what your appropriate role and responsibilities are, and what are you supposed to be doing? What are you supposed to be doing? With the most important part to me is in Rites of Passage is discovering or beginning the process of discovering what are you doing here? What were you saying here for? Because I'm a firm believer that all of us were sent here for a purpose. All of us were sent here for a purpose. When you miss that, that's a problem. You can have the best job in the world and be miserable. If you feel like you're not living out your purpose, it's not enough for you. How many of us have done that? I mean, it happens, but this is the way that you can actually figure out, or at least begin that process, because it's a process. It's not anything. You don't go to sleep one day, go to a class, go to sleep, wake up, and you got it. It's constant. What is your purpose? All of us should have it written down in our hearts. And mine goes something like this. I was sent here, actually my name is Quaker Musadamba, the great warrior with a sweet message. I was sent here to learn and to teach, to help and to heal. Simple as that. That's it. And see, sometimes I get out of whack being the age I am, like bringing all this stuff in my car. And South Haven to hit it. But I had faith and I had knowledge that, people was asking me, Dr. Bourke was asking me, how you gonna do that? Yeah. But I knew that I could do it. I knew that I could do it. Some of it I would figure out. I knew my good friend Dr. Bourke would be here, and I knew that I could figure it out. That's one thing I've learned. I don't have to totally rely on what others think and feel in order for me to be successful. I do need to listen though. Okay, next. All right. So the drumming circles utilize restorative circle principles. In fact, I've done drumming circles that I didn't teach it. I did drumming circles at Lemoyne On. They had a program called Man Up, and they would be, Dr. Washington has created a triangle that talks about the pyramid mentally. So we have elders, then we have men, and then we have boys. And so they can kind of go around that pyramid. But the circle it provides structure. I always go back to the street organizations for the gang. They got a certain way that they operate. When they have their meeting, they'll recite their mission and values, and everybody needs to know it. You don't know it, you go over there because you just violated, that means you're going to get a bumper face. In other words, you have to know all of the different values that go along with the group that you're in. Usually, at the beginning, I would do some normal setting. What's going to be our rule that we'll agree on? We can change it, but we all got to agree on it because that's going to guide how we're going to operate. Things like laying a plane, you're talking too much. But there's a rule, there's a simple rule about how the group is going to function. And when you have restorative circles, I would challenge all you out to look it up. There's quite a bit of literature out there on what their principles are, and really it's very human, to be honest with you. They talk about when you're doing a group, you have to be constantly, they phrase it like this, you have to be relentless with hospitality, which means that no matter what you do, you got to always treat people. Even if you tell them something that's difficult for them to do, you have to respect the person. And I'm sure all of you know about the NASW code of ethics. They talk about the value of the human being, of the worth of the person. You got to treat them. Just because they sit in a different chair than I sit in, that doesn't mean that they're not human and they need to be treated kindly with respect and with dignity. Instead of flipping through the page, well, your number is 06394. I see you've been on the welfare before. We have to be respectful, relentless. And these are some more principles. The dialogue is always a method of sharing information, of listening, of understanding and working towards some sort of resolution or treatment. I'm not going to go through these because I really do. A lot of this is you have to think or be willing to try. And here we go again. We beg and we beat our clients and participants into trying stuff that we know we know it's difficult. But then very, very hard. Number two, more than half of them don't want to do it. They do not want to do it. And so we have to create opportunities where it's okay. If they do it or try to do it, then they're not shamed. That's critically important. Because none of us like to be shamed. And the best group settings are the group settings where participants can take risks. They can be who they really are. And that there aren't any repercussions of a negative result of them being who they are. And so one of the things you want to instill in them is the fact that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you're trying. It's okay to make mistakes. But they got to try. And so now is let's get busy. So I've got about 35 spaces up here, and we're going to start, since this part of the room was the least active, okay? At least the least active in this stuff. I'm going to ask for, over there, 30 of y'all to come up and fill the seats. Let's come on. So everybody on the back wall, on the back table, come on. Now observe what's going on now. Observe what's going on. Yeah, just sit down. Anywhere settle out. Come on back there in the corner. The beautiful blonde. Come on. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Let's clap for hands. Come on, sister. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Look at it. Come on. The lady that's all the way in the corner. Come on. Come on. Oh, we don't even. Come on, y'all. Now, how many different ways can I say it? Everybody on the back row, back there on that wall, come to the middle. Come on. Come on, young man. Come on. Beautiful red hair. Sister with the new lock. Come on. Yeah, you turn your head, but I'm talking to you. Sister! Come on, I'm waiting on you. Everybody that's back there, come on. Hold on, this ain't gonna be the only one. Now this is the prime example of what I'm talking about. So could you imagine if these were clients, but and not to get on them, but this is what we do. This is what we do. And don't you think for a moment them clients, they know. They can sniff that out. Now, I'm gonna ask again. There's 4 of you all back there in the back. Come on, brother, with glasses. Yeah, you look around. And everybody in the back over there, lady in the blue, lady in the corner, that whole row. Please come on, sisters. You guys gonna show phone. Come on. Yeah, you look around. Come on. It's taking more energy for you to fight it than it is to just get off and come over. Yeah, let's give her a hand. All right. I got to give her a chance to get here, you know. We slick, we get halfway. And then we move until back. Yeah. Now, I've got 5 more, come on, 5 more people on that back row that have to move. I don't know why. All right, we're gonna leave you. Sit down. That's in the back there. Back row on that wall. Come on. Raise your hand if you've ever been to a Jeffrey Osborne concert. Can you move? Can you move? You remember that part? Yeah. Everybody can can you move? So, now I'm going to open it up for anybody in the room that want to come. I got 3, 4, 5. I got 5. There was somebody over here that said, was it you? Somebody before we started said they wanted to be in the service. There was somebody over here. Come on. We got 1 seat left. No, we still got one right here. Now, I'm going to go push it over here, but we got one right here. Now let's just take 5 seconds and get a group of hands. So again, you don't have to be a master drummer in order to do this. All right? All you just need is a little rhythm. And I'm praying. Just a little rhythm. Y'all did really well with the church clap, the happy clap. Y'all did really well. You got somebody? Oh, okay. All right. So now we've essentially got different instruments. I'll just break them up into 2 different categories. We've got things that you shake and they make a sound, or you hit and they make a sound. Like this is called the shaker brush, right? It's a gourd. What are these? What kind of shell? Hair shell? These are these. What are these? What's the name of them? What? Ooh, I never heard that one.
I did cow shit.
Cowrie. Cowrie shell. These used to be money. This is what they use to signify wealth and value. Like we use paper dollar bills, they use cowrie shell. Yeah. And this is what you call it. All I can tell you is that these instruments have power. You know, they attract people. I've seen boys in, man. We'd be beat. All of a sudden, somebody get up and just start doing, different little things, right? Unplanned. And if they do have some videos where they show black people dancing in church when they get happy, and they show people in Africa dancing when they had a ceremony, they're like the same thing. How do I get this from? Okay. So that's the shaker break. I actually don't know what the name of this is, but it's kind of it's a variation of the what? Chinese ring. And these are like baby shakers. What do they call these with the babies? What? Rattlers. All right. These are interesting. When I first saw these, you know what I thought they were? You were slingshot. They put rubber on. That was kind of maybe the first instrument I tried to make was a slingshot. Before the Zipidon. Anybody ever heard of a Zipidon? Yeah, that's something to take a piece of wood with a little pipe. We try to actually make a pistol out of it. These small drums, these are small djembes. They're usually much larger than this. And this is the old, what is this? This is the thing? Handbags, right. This is not the one that you grab. See, they're a little bit more than noise makers. And so now, I just want to show you closely before you hurt your hand. That's how you hit it. You sit down. So, we're going to get some simple beats going and see where we go from there. So the first one, now this is not for the people that shake it right, or any of that. This is just for the drum. We want to go 1, 2, 1. Come on. All right, good. That's it. Give me my hand. see and I feel the sincerity of all of you all in terms of doing that. You forget about everything else. And you just don't think. You don't tell them about what other folks think. You know, you're doing this, you better think about what you're doing, else you're playing something else, right? So people with the shakers, I want you to just go shake, shake, shake. Pause, shake, 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 pause. Now, you ain't kidding.
I don't shake, so.
Well, if you don't shake, 5 minutes, I thought it was an hour or something. Man, oh man, they the only ones gonna get a chance to have experience. So let's start off with the drums. The other thing is, when you hear me going fast, you go fast. Keep going. Okay. We're gonna, when I raise my hand, we're gonna just go to a flutter. And when I pull it down, what we're gonna do? Stop. All right, let's get started. No, not yet. Not yet. Play for a while. When I raise my hand, then you go into the flutter. All right? All right? Now, this is the time, and we've run out of time. It really hurts my heart. I'd like to get another group up here, but I want everybody to get serious right now. I know it's been fun. But what was the experience like for you? Speak loud so everybody can hear you now.
It was really good because of the
It was really good because of the unity.
What was it like for you?
I just enjoyed it. It was almost as if I was by myself. Like, when we got in the rhythm, I was in my own space, like in my own head.
What was it like for you, Robert?
I was in another world.
In another world. Okay. And, you know, time won't give us the truth, so we can get the essence, because ideally, we would have a number of groups. I'll give you one more quick variation. We're gonna start with you and you. Y'all don't play it off. Don't play it off. It's from you to you, all the way around this way. Okay, we'll go from you around to Ms. Butler. Here we go. Okay, so the way that we're going to end the session, and usually this is when you get a chance to do, your different therapies, you know, after so experience life for you. And what I found is with African American men and boys, and I saw it here with people that are not African American. It's amazing how the power of the group helped you to do some things that you more than likely would not do it on your own. All you have to do is get there and participate, because no matter what I think, I am not any more special than everybody else thinks. If I come to do something, the group actually helps me. And so, I'm not going to do everybody, but I'm going to do 5 people. And you have a card, and they have indignant symbols on that. And I'm going to ask 5 people, that's it, just to tell them to read their card and tell the group what it means to you. We're going to start with Dr. Pamela Scott.
My card says Aquafina, and it's courage, a symbol of courage, valor, and being a hero, heroine, or a hero.
What does that mean to you, Dr. Pam?
I guess it's basically being in situations where.
Hold on, don't get it.
Oh, okay. I have to give courage in various spaces.
All right, let's give her a hand. Typhone. Tiffany. It's a long way. I want you to do your best with that and tell me what it means.
O-U-A-P-1. And that is the power of love and devotion.
So what does that mean to you?
That no matter how difficult it may be, to love is everlasting, and love is God.
All right, give her a hand. I want to hear what our lead drummer has to say.
PT Pop, it means a good marriage. This symbol suggests love and faithfulness such as found in a good marriage. To me, that means if you love someone truly and you're faithful to them, it can result in a good marriage.
Do it again. Use I statements. Plain only. This is the last time I'm pushing.
Yes. Any concern, That means unity and collective strength to contribute to the community. Strength happens through unity.
That actually is the symbol of my rights as pastor. And cross them. It's like two embryos in a shell. It's interdependent. We don't have to depend on each other, but we can share that dependence. So, let's give the group a big Should you need me? Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. I just wish we had more time where we could get to the point where we actually start drumming and dancing. So let's play one more before we get up out. She ain't gonna get to a car. Anyway, somebody start us off with 1, 2, 1.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry Watson, for your presentation. Don't forget